Lần đầu tiên trên VTV7, một sân chơi tranh biện bằng tiếng Anh đã xuất hiện. Đó là những chiến binh tranh biện với tinh thần tự tin, văn minh và vô cùng sáng tạo.
Education is the key to the future.
Never satisfied with what you're having.
When will it be enough?
You are never too small to make a difference.
We think that the balanced view here is to know all perspectives, to know all the pros and the cons of what you're fighting for.
Họ đã cống hiến những trận thi đấu hấp dẫn và đầy cảm xúc.
Wow, like was so smooth, that was so well prepared.
I love the energy that comes from both sides. I love the enthusiasm that follows the energy and the good content.
Are going to one team. That is
Giải thưởng dành cho nhà vô địch The Debaters mùa thứ nhất là một chuyến học tập và trải nghiệm 2 tuần chương trình dự bị trung học và đại học của chương trình SACE International tại bang Nam Úc do SACE Việt Nam và Ủy ban trường học bang Nam Úc tài trợ. Và các giải thưởng do Trung tâm Anh ngữ RES trao tặng. Đội thi hay nhất do ban giám khảo lựa chọn nhận phần thưởng trị giá 60 triệu đồng. Người nói hay nhất nhận phần thưởng trị giá 15 triệu đồng. Đội có lượt phản hồi hay nhất nhận phần thưởng 30 triệu đồng. Và bây giờ đã đến lúc đi tìm nhà vô địch của The Debaters mùa thứ nhất.
hello and welcome to the Debaters 2019. We are here with VTV7, which is an educational channel in Vietnam. This is a game show for high school students to debate. I'm your host, Dustin Xavier. Today is episode 5 of the top 12. In the previous episode, we talked about work, money, and happiness, which was a very interesting debate, you could say that, but it was well done. So we're very happy with how that went. Today, it's kind of similar, but yet a little different. We're going to be talking about something that I think most people, especially in Vietnam and the younger generation, might be a little concerned about. For the motion today, it is that we regret the idolization of individuals who do not follow traditional educational paths. So what does this mean in layman terms? So think Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. These are people who went to school, but in college they dropped out, and yet they're incredibly successful. Some of the richest people on the planet today. So school, who needs school? We can just be like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. But that is what we're going to debate. Should we continue with school, get our bachelor's degree, master's degree, who knows, maybe even a PhD, or just drop out at high school, even college, and then do our own thing? The students today from high schools in Vietnam are going to be discussing this.
First, I explained to the teams about the background, especially for the proposition sign, because this is the first time they work with motions about regret. So they are a little bit confused about how to regret something. So I told them about how the regret motion actually works, how they can do the comparison. For the opposition sign today, I'm focusing more on explaining to them how to bring up the criteria in a debate so they can have an effective comparison as well as rebuttals.
The first team, I would say, good, clear speakers, but when they were getting excited about their points, their pronunciation was starting to fail. They were starting to mix up words, not pronounce clearly, and speak too quickly. So my advice to them was just to try and calm things down so that they can make their points and the other teams can receive that information. The Vin School team, very organised team, confident team. So my advice was to use throw one motion and wait for the return from the opposing team, and then give the next motion and wait for the next punch from the team.
I learned a lot from the coach, and I actually learned how to improve my debate skills, not just argumentation and rebuttals, but also how to solve types of motions. because there are many types of them. I think that I am well prepared for the next battle that I will have with the other team, and I find myself quite confident.
And we are here for two reasons. First of all, it's to learn.
And second of all, is to win.
Hey!
So without further ado, let's introduce the teams for today. For the first team, please welcome Girl GD X-Boy NK. We have Huyen Thi Thanh Tâm, Quack An Nhi, Dao Tị Cận. Girls, welcome to the Debaters. You are going to be the proposition team today. Yeah, I like that. For the next team, please welcome La Victoire. We have Nguyễn Công An, Ngô Minh Châu, Nguyễn Ngọc Tranh Linh. All right, girls. You know, every episode that I've done, the names I think get more and more interesting. So please say your name again for me, because it's not English.
It's pronounced La Victoire.
La Victoire. Toi, with the hand motion. Toi. Okay, so La Victoire. What does this mean?
It means victory in French.
You hear that? It means victory. That's how confident they are today.
Yeah, we can see it. We definitely can see it.
Uh-oh. Are you intimidated? How do you feel right now?
I feel that they hit up my spirits.
Oh! Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. We haven't even started yet, so wait till the first match. So you know the motion,
Yes.
and you prepared, correct?
Yes.
All right, what do you think of this? Because you're high school students right now.
I wish I will go to university and I will pass my high school.
Okay, so pass high school, go to university. How about your guys' preparation for today's debate?
We have a lot of things to say, but we can't really sure what they're gonna have on their side. So even though the result at the end of the day, I truly believe both of the team has accomplished such amazing thing to at least standing on this stage.
Well, it's very kind of you to say that, because I know today you guys, at least you'll be learning something and practicing English, critical thinking, and also a lot of listening as well. So girls, so La Victoire, right?
Yes.
Okay. Girl GD, X-Boy NK.
Yes.
So please take your seats because we need to introduce the judges. Thank you. Now we have our contestants, opposition team, proposition team. We need our judges. So please welcome the three judges. The first judge, Miss Nguyễn Ngọc Thu Uyên. Professional debate coach. And now, for the second judge, please welcome Mr. Wang Ji-Hill, co-founder, IEG Education. And last but not least, please welcome Mr. Evan O'Donohoe, professional English coach. So now that we have the three judges, who I'm very happy to see tonight, how are you guys feeling? This is the 5th episode of The Debaters. Are you ready for this?
Always as ready and always excited to see what the young generation today have to say about what really matters to them, right? So I think it's actually a good motion because it set the direction for these guys to follow as they move on with their career and academics.
Yeah, thank you. Hill? Hey?
This motion is actually very, very tricky, especially in the way that they use the terms and everything. So I think that the teams today, they have to be very, very careful with their word choice, and also good luck with both teams.
Thank you. Eh?
Yes, I'm looking forward to hear everything the teams have to say, and I think this topic's going to be very interesting for us and the viewers today.
Thank you, Evan. And contestants, proposition, opposition team, just a quick warning, sometimes the judges can be a little mean, just a little bit. So no one has cried yet. That's not on the agenda for today, but we're really hoping you guys will be okay. But they will be fair, and they will try to be very positive with their criticism. So contestants, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I love this, yes. So for the first match, proposition team, please welcome Huyen Thi Thanh Tâm. From the opposition team, Miss Nguyen Hong An. All right, girls, this is the first match of the night. You're going first, which is very, very important, really important. So there's kind of a lot of pressure, but then again, there's not too much with the points, but again, it's important. You'll get some good feedback from the judges, but it's time for me to explain the rules. So for the first match, this one is quite straightforward. You have 3 minutes to deliver your speech. There's no POI, so there's no interruption for this. Are you girls ready?
Never ready.
Okay, I'm excited for this. For the first match, let it begin.
With the famous story that success comes even when people do not pursue higher education, for example in university, the majority of students has been indifferent with self-employment and also the control over their own income without qualifications about general knowledge on how to operate their own career. As the proposition team, we see that this situation has potential threats to instability and also unemployment, and so therefore we regret the idolization of individuals that do not follow traditional education path. First of all, I would like to come with some definition over this case. First of all, idolization. As this is the process where parents and society promote successful individuals through university speeches, written books, and also interviews, and set these figures as the standard for later generations to look up into them. Second, traditional education path. This is a two-stage progress where in the first 12 years, students will learn academic universal knowledge and also basic interaction experience, whereas for the next 4 years, the last 4 years, it is the time for them to major and gain knowledge about chosen specific field of study. And therefore, by completing these stages, traditional education path, students are able to stabilize themselves and get a job which will support their life by these credentials. And now come into my argument. Our first argument is that the idolization of non-traditional education path devalue of education. First of all, it's to get the certificate, which is the file approved by government, and that the individual who gained this certificate have enough knowledge to the level equivalent to as the certificate has said. And also, but however, that is not all education is about. It's also about the skills and the knowledge that they gain from the environment, the future working education. And so in these environments, they are exposed but also protected from tricks and scam, and also they will gain advices and skills which is helpful to their own career. For example, they know how to analyze trends and deduce conclusions from the situations. And so since all of these facts is so beneficial to the students, however, these facts are despised because of the narrow mind belief that university only teach impractical knowledges, and this misleading process results in the fact that this pulls students away from universities, from the source of education, and also from the source of experience. And what does this create? This took decades for students to accumulate experience, which only took them 4 years, and now they have to take decades to accumulate successful, and so to learn most of the experience that they can gain in 4 years. And therefore, we see that this idolization don't actually benefit individuals, which is why we regret this motion. Thank you.
School is not education itself. It is just one method in various methods of education. And traditional educational path is the schooling from elementary to high school to university or maybe further. The first speaker of the team said that we are devaluing the purpose of education. But no, we do not underestimate the importance of schooling. But one size doesn't fit all right, and there are other studying methods that are effective for people who do not find the purpose of studying in school. So in our world, we idolize people like Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg do no harm for the majority, and we benefit more group of people than you. We have two main stakeholders, the student and the society, and we characterize the student into two main types, the student who finds the purpose of schooling and students who do not fit in with school. In your world, you want the students who do not find the purpose of schooling to continue studying in school, even if they don't want. But in our world, we give them more options of education. You guys are thinking that the idolization will make people think the world is a pink color and people may drop out of school. But this argument is not true, because idolization is a process that happens gradually over a long period of time. You cannot watch Bill Gates on the television and immediately like him. No, in order to idolize someone from liking, you must understand the process of how the people from a jobless student become successful to many challenges and obstacles. Understanding that blood, sweat, and tears process, that is a moment of truly idolization. And that is why people who idolize Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg above anyone, they understand the risks if they drop out of school and the challenging process to become successful. So they will only drop out of school if they do not find the purpose of school and they are confident in their ability. So now our team will prove that idolization of individuals who do not follow traditional educational path do no harm for the majority. Nowadays, majority of people follow traditional industry, following jobs that require academic qualification. For example, if you want to become a doctor or a researcher, you need to know that college degree so that you can follow the career. So even if you idolize people who dropping out of school, it will not affect the decision of studying in university or not of the majority people. That is the reason why idolization of individuals like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates do not harm the majority in the society. In contrast, there are a group of people who follow innovative industry such as music, in technology, startup business, or art. In our world, they are encouraged to think outside of the box and take risks and have more choice of education besides the traditional school and university. What is wrong when we idolize the inspirational people? Not only we can understand the challenging process to become success like them, but we are also encouraged to follow our dream and have motivation to contribute to the society. If Steve Jobs was once kicked out of his own company when he became a legendary figure, then it is only fair that young people look up to him.
So let me ask you a question. How would you rate your opponent? Do you think she did a good job delivering her speech?
Yes, I truly think so. She really challenged me.
So, your opponent, how would you rate her speech?
I find that she did a really good job at delivering her speech.
You guys are very friendly with each other. So it's a very civil debate. So right now, we got our 3 judges. And judges, please inform us. How did they do?
I think that you guys did a really good job setting up the debate. For the proposition side, I am very pleased in your case. It was really well informed. Everything was explained very thoroughly. For the opposition side today, I see that you have 2 very strong rebuttals. Of course, they are not very fully developed yet, but the ideas were there. And I really like the fact that you are very, very direct in your rebuttal. I also like the fact that you spend quality time to explain important definitions that can benefit your teams, like idolization, and your structure is very clear as well. In the first turn, I would give my 10 points to the opposition side.
I'll start with the opposition team. I thought, again, the rebuttals were to the point, very direct, very clear. You laid it out from the beginning that we were going to be talking about students and society, and at first I wasn't sure if we are going to make it all the way back around to society, but you did make it back there in the end, so that was good. Moving on over to the proposition team. I thought the beginning was quite clear. The definitions were laid out very clear. I thought the structure of the arguments were a little bit more muddled than the opposition team, so it took a little bit more effort to understand which ideas were connected to which argument. My 10 points will also be going to the opposition team.
On the proposition side, with your argument, all the reasoning or supporting details for your main argument about developing the purpose of education is spot on. Strong arguments, but now you need to prove that and highlight more that the fact that if you keep idolizing people like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, how does it going to affect your world? Opposition team, strong rebuttals, could have done better, but I agree, strong rebuttals to the point as well. And when you move on to your argument, I can see a very clear structure. Basically, you break into like multiple groups, the one that follow the traditional careers and the one that follow innovative careers. It's easy to follow. I wish you had more examples and evidence to back it up. With that said, I give it to the team that actually does a slightly better job in breaking down the arguments. So that's why my 10 points also go to the opposition team.
Thank you, judges. We have 30 points for the opposition team and 0 points for the proposition team. However, this is just the first round. Doesn't really mean that much, but for the second match will be very, very important. And now, girls, please take a seat. Thank you so much. So right now we have La Victoire, the opposition team, with 30 points. On the other side, we have Girl GD X-Boy NK. I know, it's a very long name and it's a mouthful to say, with 0 points. They are the proposition team. But it's the first match. We still have 3 more, which can determine a lot. But we are going to go on a short break. We will see you in a second.
Argument is that the idolization of non-traditional education paths devalue of education.
No, in order to idolize someone from liking, you must understand the process of how the people from a jobless student become successful to many challenges and obstacles.
I thought the structure of the arguments were a little bit more muddled than the opposition team, so it took a little bit more effort to understand which ideas were connected to which argument.
Welcome back to the second round of the debaters. Without further ado, let's bring our contestants up. From the proposition team, please welcome Wook and Yi. From the opposition team, please welcome Ngo Min Chao. All right, girls, welcome to the second match. I'm going to start over here with Girl GD X-Boy NK.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm gonna get that 30 back.
Oh, oh!
I mean, I hope I can do it.
No, I will. Not I hope, I will. I like that better. So, La Victoire.
Yes.
How are you going to respond to that?
I don't know. Let's see how things works because I'm not going to let you beat me. Okay.
Okay. This is going to get good. I'm actually quite excited for this. But you guys, we heard some feedback from the judges, so we hope you made some changes to how you're approaching things right now. So for this round, you will have 4 minutes rather than 3. You are going to be giving your speech. There is POI. It is open. So you can interrupt, push the green little bell if you want to ask a question, which needs to be under 15 seconds. Do you understand the rules?
Yes.
Okay. In proposition team, you are going first.
Yeah.
So get ready. Let the second match begin.
Giving some rebuttals to the other team, we can see that when you say that the government side gives no opportunities for students who are not interested and fit in school, no other choice. You guys are wrong because first of all, we are not taking away any choices. As the first speaker of my team has said, there are many ways you can approach education and those ways are still staying the same whether you idolize the individuals or not. Secondly, we are regretting the idolization due to its harms to the society. We're not doing this because we evaluate university value. And now I will prove to you why we have to meet the university that the step-by-step traditional educational part will be better to get a job. Now, first of all, why do we have to have from the first grade to the 12th grade? This is the time for you to experience the school. This is the time for you to find out what is your passion. What will you do when you are in the university? And the university is one of the greatest places you can get your knowledge, your experience, because education is not just knowledge. That is the experience that you get in the university. They are very valuable and you can use them in the future. No, thank you. Now, let's move to another thing that we would want to clarify in our arguments, and I will jump right into it. The idolization will create the unstable future for young generation. And how would we do this? Firstly, we have to clarify that we are not opposing the uniqueness startup, but we are recommending them to finish university so as they have a safe path before they take risks. We are not saying that people should take risks, but only when they have a safe backup. Let's come to the idolization effects. idolization evaluate the good and the successful people, the good and the successful sides, but they are actually ignore the failures. And we have to understand that not everybody have this suitability to fit in with these things. For example, let's say Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Warren Buffett, they all share two same things. First, they are from privileged backgrounds. For example, Bill Gates live in a upper middle class. Mark Zuckerberg have both parents are doctors and dentists. Warren Buffett have a dad, it is a congressman, and he's very wealthy. And they also have talents and passionates, and they are passionate for the right strengths of them. Therefore, not everyone have the ability to achieve the success like these idols, but the risks are actually much more. So let's come to another part of this idolization, the peer pressure effect. Many people believe that, if they do this, a lot of people lose it as success. So they will drop university, and this is what happens here. Many people go abroad, and when they are successful, they come back, and then people see the success that these students have. They will likely try to go abroad, and this has happened the same with university. Maybe you say that, not every student want to take risks like that, but in your world, you encourage the risk. And I would say that only 50% of business starts up with employees survive after the first 5 years. Therefore, if they fail and they don't have a college degree, they will be out of job and they can hardly find one. They will have financial struck. Moreover, startup failures also hold gigantic loan to the government. It is estimated at least $50,000 cash is needed for a startup. Therefore, it will lead to the downfall of the economy if you cannot pay back the loan and you are falling into unemployment. Proud to propose.
Bill Gates is the inspiration of million people to dream big, and one of many people who admire him is the Facebook owner, Mark Zuckerberg. You and me, we all can do it. This is the society we are facing. But you forget a stakeholder, the very important one is the underprivileged people. You're talking about, at least when they're dropping out of the school, they need to have a safe backup. What about the underprivileged people who living in remote area, have bad economical conditions, which leading to the fact that even if they wanting to, they can't go to school. And in your society, you're putting on them unnecessary stereotype that if you're not going to school, you are not a necessary part of the society, that people reject unnecessary part of the society. Next of all, that you call university as the greatest place, but you do not focus on if they don't go to school, if the people who don't see the importance of school, they can go everywhere to fighting, and what they actually, if they do not have the definition to their life, if they're going to school every single day, but forget the definition, what they are studying, and don't use it in the future, it is going to be such a waste. And second, you're giving a lot of example of people who succeed with a great background, but we honestly want to tell you that even though they have a great background, for instance like Steve Jobs, but at least he has failed twice, which means that the background of them only play a very, very small part in the process of them being the person like them today right now. And you forget the process of idolization. You need to like the person first, and the more you like them, the more you want to understand about them. You will know about their background knowledge, that if they have a very good background knowledge but they still fail, so it is okay for me to fail, so I will reinterpret failure as a normal learning process. No, and we do believe that the best case scenario of us, that people who can fit with the schooling, the one with burning desire to find new way and doing things, they are not the majority, but these people are extremely important. What a digital world need, we need living in a society that moving very fast. So the more desire and the more wanting we have, for instance, before social media, we never know that we actually have a great designer of express ourselves, and revolutionary vision are always needed, and we need pioneer people who think as outside of the box. According to the first speaker characterization, people in our team are debating on the one who work in innovation lane. They are ambitious, they are hungry to express themselves, so they need vocational experience to create through a process of time themselves and their parent in the same time, because they're still living with their parent. So they consider their decision to dropping out of the school is not something that, I see this guy on television one day, he's dropping out of the school, so I can do that. Our society is not that pink. So we create through a process of time by themselves and their parents in the same time, and they know what they are facing. People are not irrational. And be the same here. Idolizing these people doesn't mean that you need to dropping out the school. All these people are the freelance shoppers. They are doing charity in the same time. They contribute to the society. You're idolizing these people. You're also idolizing the great characteristic and also personality of them. And second of all, we don't need the second Steve Jobs in our society. What we want to promote everybody out there that stay hungry to create great ambition even after they drop out of the school. We focus on the people who dropping out of the school because they can't find the motivation to. But in our society, we're giving them the ambition and the stay hungry to doing something afterward. And they're still going to drop in either of the world, especially the underprivileged one. But in our society, the people who find the purpose of schooling still go to school, but the one who dropping out of school have the motivation to going out there and be someone bigger. In your world society, and both of themselves do not see them as important part of the society. But in our society, we consider everybody, even the one who dropping out of the school, is important part. And we do believe that if Edison failed 1,000 times until he succeed invent the greatest invention of the whole society, which is the light bulb. And today I can stating here, you can too, and that is the main goal for society. We create a better living standard for every single body.
This is heating up. Wow. So she banged that bell maybe 4 or 5 times. How come you didn't let her answer or ask a question?
I think both of us didn't answer each other question because we're a little bit nervous, to be honest. Especially when I see her case, pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are so sweet. It's getting it's really intense right now, but I like how you guys are being so respectful of each other. So girls, now it's time to hear from the judges because this was a very exciting round for me to watch. So judges, take it away. Let's hear your thoughts.
Now, with the proposition team, you have 2 rebuttals. One is good, which is the first rebuttal, but the second rebuttal was kind of shaky for me. So basically, I extremely like when you start to move on to the part where you say that we want to guarantee a safe path before taking risk, and then you give all the examples and you really analyze the examples of Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett about all the privileges and all the background they have. And then you start to go into even the case about startups and with the numbers that startup likely to fail. And I think you kind of do a good job in helping the first debater to back up the argument as well. With the opposition team, I don't know, it seems like you're so much into the process of debating that I feel like it's just a really flushing of arguments and reasoning. It's very hard for me to get anything so punching, Debating is not about just constantly throwing out arguments. It needs to be more strategic arrangement of arguments. But I give it to the team that actually convinced me for the second half of the debate. So that's why my team board go to the proposition team.
Thank you.
That was very good and entertaining. And I'm going to start with the proposition team as well. I would like to say that I really liked all the examples and the evidence that came in the later half, especially specific numbers, some good background information on some of these figures that I actually didn't know before. So that's very interesting to hear. For the opposition team, I liked a lot of the ideas that were in your speech. I thought that they could have used a bit more expansion and a bit more, maybe reduce the amount of ideas so that you can focus on the stronger ones. For example, I thought that introducing the idea of this forgotten stakeholder with the underprivileged and people who may not be able to follow the traditional route, as I'm going to give my 10 points to the proposition team.
For the prop sign in here is that even though you use very, very good data, it is a very, very big pity that you didn't link all of the ideas back to the point that you make earlier. Now, for the opposition side, I see that your ideas was nice, but when I read through the whole case by far, the only thing that I see really significant at the moment is the fact that there are many underprivileged students who would be benefiting from this idolization. Because by far, there's still a lot of questions that I still see that the proposition sign has a bit better edge than you. So all in all, the 10 points will go to proposition side.
Because I know when you started the proposition team, you said, I'm determined to regain those points. And you did. I can see that smile on your face. You're very excited right now. I'm very happy. For the opposition team, she was true to her word. How are you feeling?
I think it's a good result because I do see that she has a very good argument in the same time. So it's going to be a great lesson for me to learn today because I came here to this competition not to compete with each other, but also to learn how to become a better debater.
Yeah. You guys, you are so friendly with each other. I love this. I love this. Because I know Owen was mentioning with the style. For me, I personally loved it. I'm sitting back there, I'm just like, this is great. I love the action. For me, it was very entertaining. Thank you so much. If you can, please return back to your seats.
Thank you.
So right now, we just finished the second match. We went from 30 points to 0. Now we're dead even with 30-30. Proposition team 30, opposition team 30 points. We have the third match coming up very soon. We'll see you in a second after the break.
We have to understand that not everybody has the suitability to fit in with these things. Let's say Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Warren Buffett, they all share two same things. First, they are from privileged backgrounds. They also have talents and passionate.
Steve Jobs, but at least he has failed twice, which means that the background of them only play a very, very small part in the process of them being the person like them today, right now.
So all in all, the 10 points will go to proposition side.
Guys, I'm going to give my 10 points to the proposition team.
But my 10 points go to the proposition team.
Welcome back to the third debate of tonight with the debaters. Okay, let's get this going. From the proposition team, Girl GDX Boy NK, please welcome Đào Thi Cản Phúc. From the opposition team, so La Victoire, the opposition team, please welcome Nguyễn Ngọc Trang Linh. All right. So girls, you know this is a third match, and right now it is dead even. 30 points, 30 points. So if someone were to take 30 points from this match, it will put you at a significant advantage. So without further ado, let me explain the rules. So for the third match, this match, similar to the second match, you have 4 minutes to discuss what you need to discuss. The POI is open, so you're allowed to interrupt. You guys have the green bells, which are working and functional, so make sure to hit that if you have a question. Question needs to be 15 seconds or shorter. Do you understand the rules?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So now, proposition team, you will begin first. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let the third match begin.
The other team, they assume that people will have the same possibility, that they will success as the people that they idolize. However, they left out and ignored the people who tried to mimic the action and then they failed. And then they have neither university qualifications or the jobs. And they try to ignore the problems that they face afterwards. And they give no solution to it at all. And in this debate, we can see that, we can see that the practical points versus the moral points on their sides. Which is the moral point here is that the motivation that they give. And on outside, the practical point here is that the stability of the future generation and the economical development of the country. Now, firstly, we believe that it's going to devalue the value of education. And in the best case, we believe that the student will underestimate the university degree. Therefore, they will the future labor equality will be decreased. And this is the future of the young generation. And in the worst case, even if the future labor quality won't decrease, we believe that it will create an opportunity cost as this comes at the expense of them going to college, pursuing a trade which would have provided them with a more stable job. And it will take them longer in order to be more successful. And this is the future of the young generation. And we are really concerned about it. the other side bring up the point that there will be more choice of education. However, without this idolization, people are likely to see the traditional path as the most stable in the majority of cases, and people will still be aware that the non-traditional path still exists, but they will see it more realistic. They will see the downsides, the low odds of the success, and they don't see it as a better traditional path, which is what idolization implies. And we believe that in this case, we focus on the stakeholder, that people maybe who should follow traditional path, but if they still want to have other options exist, the comparative here is that they would at least follow the traditional path and then have a stable job. If they decided to try something new in the future, at least after they have some savings and good qualifications as a base to branch out from, and it will be more stable. And the second stakeholder we focus on, that we believe that those people who are suitable for the non-traditional path, many of them would have done even so in our work anyways, since they have extraordinary talent and they can recognize it without the idolization. And at least they will go into it with a clearer idea of what the risks are and can take the measure and guard against these risks. And on our side, we believe that the student will have more evaluations. They will be curious of what the directions are. They will find the direction that's more suitable for them and create the more sustainable future for them. And what about the stakeholder is the society? We will have a society that is more active. The student will try to seek for more directions. They will be active and responsible for their own life. Therefore, they will grow up and become more productivity, and it will also develop the society. On your way, students are so lazy to think, and because they are lazy to think, they have no decisions at all. And therefore, because of those reasons, the unemployment rate might get higher because people who drop out of school from the middle doesn't have enough qualifications in order to get a job. And we believe that the final goal of education on our side, we touch the students are taught medically from the experience of the people. They have solid foundations, and on your side, you give the motivation, but no instructions at all. And we believe that because of the no instruction, the student will be blinded. The people will have the delusion that they are going to be success at the other, while their backgrounds are completely different from those successful people. And therefore, we strongly believe that in this case, we encourage the stability of the society, encourage the practical around, proud to propose.
Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, once said, "The biggest risk is not taking any risk." That is why we, the opposition team, strongly disagree with the motion that we regret idolization of individuals who do not follow traditional education path. First of all, some rebuttals. You state that university is good, but we do not devalue the importance of university or school. But in our world, we are giving them choice and freedom of choosing the way they want, the path of education that they want. In your side, you always say that you guys are giving them choice too, but how can they have many choice when they are forced to go to university? You demand them to choose the traditional path. Second of all, you say dropout means that unemployment denied, but some lands degree isn't the most important thing. For example, art and music. In this field, is degree the most important thing? Is that the top thing that we have to care about? The third thing, you say that having a university degree is a good backup, but 136,000 people with university degree or higher are unemployed. Is that such good of a backup that we have to pass off all of our passion? And now to our clash. The first clash is in which scenario do people benefit the most, and our stakeholder in here is the one that do not fit in the environment of school. First of all, in your world, you keep saying that knowledge and ability is an important factor of success. Yes, we agree, but it's not a guarantee that we will be successful with those equipment. In our world, motivation is more important. Why? Because motivation will put people up. Because without motivation, people will give up easily. And success is made with 2% ability, 5% of luck, and 93% of hard working. Why we win in this clash is because in your world, you provide people with knowledge, ability, but in my world, we provide them with motivation, which can later transform into ability. Motivation is something your world can never have. Motivation can be made into ability, but ability can never become motivation. And the fourth thing, we dare to fail. We dare to take risk, because in our set of mind, there's always a role model. There's always Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, because how can they fail and stand up? And we cannot. That is why we continue to move forward. The second clash is whether the motion benefit more groups of people. The answer is in my house, it does. It's not only it not only does harm to any group, but also benefit all three of them. The first group is those who decide to go with traditional education path. In your world, you assume that this process of emerging into adulthood, young people will get influenced easily. But in my world, we acknowledge that those who choose these paths want to pursue academic career like doctor, engineer, and the majority of them, and this is the majority of people. And idolizing cannot make them change their decision. Idolizing make them know they can become a better version of themselves and not just be like this forever. And furthermore, it motivates them to become a better person, to make the world better. The second group is those who already want to drop out, do not fit in the school anymore. In your world, you are creating a stereotype that these people were hard to successful, and you also create a chain that pulls them back from success, closing a potential door that could be available for them. While in our world, we are opening doors that there are more than one way to success. And we understand that those who want to drop out, they are pioneers, not followers, and they want to develop the world. How can they follow the majority but not come to their own? That's why don't discount yourself. No matter what you're doing, everyone has a unique perspective that can bring to the world.
All right, the third debate has finally come to an end. So girls, right now it's even, but we're gonna find out from the judges to see how the score has changed. So judges, let's hear it.
I think both of you did a really, really good job. For proposition sign, I think that your comparative speech is very, very good. The way that you do it step by step is very, very standard, and it's very easy to follow. However, I still haven't seen you dealt properly with the underprivileged group of students, and that is actually a very, very big hole in your case by far. And it can be detrimental if your opponent team can take that and swing a very, very good extension. For opposition sign today, I feel so bad that no POIs was taken, and you guys should have at least take one POI. Number one. Number two is that when it comes to your rebuttals, I would like half-half because you gave really good numbers about the unemployment rate of people who even got the university degree. However, you did not elaborate on that number to explain to me why essentially people do not need the university degree. So all in all, very close debate, but proposition side, you get 10 points.
For the first opposition, I would like to try not to repeat anything my fellow judge said, but again, it felt a little bit that the rebuttals were, one was very direct, one was a little bit of a stretch when it came to that. I thought the arguments were good, if not a little bit repetitive from the previous round. There was some good expansion on why people need this motivation and how these role models give that to them. But I felt that you were sort of falling back on this. It doesn't harm anyone to idolize them. It's sort of a non-argument for me in that sense. For the proposition team, I felt that first point you made about devaluing the education, sort of extending that and talking about the labor market and how the skills there will decrease over time if people are generally moving away from traditional education route. For this round, my 10 points will go to the proposition team.
Overall, I'm pleased with the wrap up of the third debaters. I think you guys doing exactly what a third debater should do, which is wrapping up the case. I think you guys both share the same strengths and weakness, which means sometimes your ideas are so spot on and so great, and sometimes your ideas kind of fall flat, okay? For example, with the proposition team, I like the first two ideas of yours. Number one is about the devalued education. You talk about the labor quality of the future may drop, and also the opportunity cost of students. I felt those arguments are quite strong. The second argument is strong as well, which is it's about the stability. Okay, with the third one, not so much because you're making assumptions that I feel very loosely grounded. With this team, I would not repeat what my fellow judges have said. You have a weak argument and a strong argument. Your weak argument is that you say in your world you have motivation, and this world does not have motivation. You know, even people pursuing traditional path education but still have a lot of motivation. They're just motivated by different reasons and a different cause, okay? And you even say like, in your world, there's a role model. So you say that this world doesn't have a role model. They have role model who are just not Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, right? So trying to be fair to the opposite team as well. That said, you kind of wrap up nicely at the end because actually I think that's a very strong conclusion. So I think it's a very strong ending to your debate, right? With this team, these guys have more great ideas. These guys have a strong conclusion. I could give my 10 points to the opposition team.
Thank you, judges. So right now, the proposition team, you have 50 points. Opposition team, you have 40 points. So we have the reply match, which will determine the winner. It's still a very, very close call. Are you girls feeling okay? Thank you, girls. So right now, you can go back to your seats. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We have 50 points with the proposition team. On the other end, the opposition team, we have 40 points. We still have the reply speech, which will determine the winner tonight. After the break, we will be seeing that speech. See you in a second.
We will have a society that is more active. The student will try to seek for more directions. They will be active and responsible for their own life.
Yes, we agree, but it's not a guarantee that we will be successful with those equipment. In our world, motivation is more important.
With this team, these guys have more great ideas. These guys have a strong conclusion. I could give my 10 points to the opposition team.
Thank you, judges. Welcome back to the Debaters 2019, produced and broadcasted by VTV7, National Educational Channel here in Vietnam. So without further ado, let's introduce the contestants for the reply speech. From the proposition team, please welcome Wook An Nhi. From the opposition team, please welcome Ngô Minh Châu. So you girls know how important this reply speech is, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. The reply speech is a little different as you will only have 2 minutes. So it needs to be thorough, direct, and very straight. Without further ado, let's begin the reply speech.
In our society, we benefit the more stakeholder. At the end of the day, the two main stakeholders, both of the team are the student. But on their side of the team, yes, we do believe that the best case scenario of you guys is university is a safer way to ensure the stable career, and agree that not everybody can be able to be Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, but in the same time that we're showing you guys that the people who find the purpose of school are not the only one, but also the underprivileged people in the same time. And even when there's a certain job that when you're not actually following the schooling method, you can actually succeed, for instance, like a doctor, or when you want to become a scientist. And in our case, we will not affecting those people, but not only we do not gonna affect their career choice to pursue a career they wanting to be, but we even benefit more stakeholder at the end of the day, which is the underprivileged people, the people who can't really go to school because they do not economically being supporting them to go, not because they decide to dropping out or not. And we showing them that even though after dropping out of the school, we can break the social norm, that they still can be a necessary part of the society, even though you won't pursue a transition traditional path of education, you still can be able to going out there and being with someone bigger. Because in our society, we believe that you are only fail when you stop trying to be being a better of yourself every single day. And the worst case of you guys, that more people will be dropped out of school. But according to the first speaker has said, there are certain group and job need to go to follow school method of education, so we won't be changing it. But the difference here, there are still people who still going to be dropping in both sides. First of all, it's the people who don't see the purpose of school, don't see that it's going to be benefiting them, and the people who underprivileged, at least in our society, they have role model to not losing, to move forward, because the Team K at the end of the day, that no matter what we are and no matter what the background is, at least if we're trying, we are winning.
Let's analyze the two words that we all have built. We will come to your word first. In your word, all the cases and all the things you guys are trying to protect is the underprivileged. Now, you split it out into two types. Firstly, they are not financially supported enough to get into university. And secondly, are the ones that find studying is not that fruitful to their lives. Now, let's come to the first one that we're talking about. We are protecting everyone from the harm that the idolization of these individuals might cause. We are not saying that, hey, you have to go to university or else your life is done. We're not saying that, but instead we try to give them an analysis look on the ways of education they have. But in your word, the only thing you say is, well, they will have the motivation. Motivation is the most important thing, and they will learn how to improve themselves day by day. But you, through the whole case, didn't show us how. You should say that motivation will make them change. But how? How would they change? How would they try? How would they get on with how would they get over their mistakes? How would they build a successful and stable future for themselves? Since they are the underprivileged, they would have to try their best to get into the normal society already. But now, only with motivation and no analysis. How could they do that? And this is not a question. I will answer that for you in my world. We maintain the stability of the society, both educationally and economically. Even though the people who are underprivileged, let's just say about they don't have enough finance support, they still have to try their best to get that. Even though, let's say they don't go to university, they will still have to take learning as something important that they can have a chance to get a job and change their lives. That is practical, and they can be risky after they have a safe backups. Therefore, we strongly believe that the analyzation of this individual is actually doing way more harms than good, and our word is a more practical one. Therefore, we should win this debate. Thank you.
All right. Girls, the debate has finally come to an end. Right now, I know we usually hear feedback from the judges, but we're not going to be getting any of that. So thank you so much. If you can, please go back to your seats.
Thank you.
We just finished the reply speech. Currently, 50 points for the proposition team, 40 points for the opposition team. We will have the final results right after the break. Welcome back to the final results of the debaters. To my right, we have girl GD X-Boy NK. To my left, we have La Victoire. Girls, before I tell you the final results, I want to say thank you so much for coming up here. Very much appreciated. And also today, practicing debate, we're trying to improve English, critical thinking, analytical skills, hearing something from a different perspective to help enhance our daily lives and work, conversations, friends, family. Hopefully you will be leaving today with better knowledge and debate skills. So, the moment of truth. 50 points, 40 points. tonight's winner, who received all 15 points, goes to the proposition team. So congratulations, girls, for winning tonight's debate. Also, girls, you did a phenomenal job, and this debate tonight was very, very entertaining. For those that are at home, if you want to see more of the debaters, make sure to check out VTV7's Facebook and YouTube channel. So girls, thank you again. Judges, thank you. Everyone watching, have a great night. We'll see you again. Take care.